An opacity mask is a mask that allows you to create some very complicated effects. To follow along with me, please open up the file called lizard.ai, which is inside of your work files folder. Now what you're going to see here is, let me go to my layers real fast. We have two layers. One that has the eye of the lizard and his body. You notice that I locked the eye so we don't have to deal with this. So I'm going to go ahead and put that away and talk very briefly about what we're trying to achieve here. So I'm going to grab my swatches and I'll tear that off. And as you can see, I chose this gradient here, the green, yellow, orange, to fill this character's body. But my goal is I want to keep this gradient and add a different gradient on top of that. And I can add something like this. All right, let me go ahead and select this guy. This one, or this one, or this one, with the gradient still in here. Now you might be wondering where I got these guys here, these two different patterns. Well, if you look inside of your swatches panel, in the bottom left-hand corner, we have a little menu. And we can choose to open up that particular pattern by going to the Patterns category, going to Nature, and we could choose Nature_Animal Skins. And in here, you'll see that we have these different types of skin. I'll go ahead and select our lizard, and I'll click, and we have this really cool patterns in here that we can apply. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose any of these. You could choose whatever one you want. I'm going to go ahead and grab this one here. And the first thing I'm going to do is, first of all, put this guy back. All right, so now that we have this character selected, and we have this fill inside of it, we're going to go to the edit menu and we're going to copy this character. All right, so we want to copy this because we're going to paste this texture back into the next effect we're about to build. Now what we want to do is we're going to create another shape. So I'm going to grab my rectangle and I'm going to draw a shape bigger than the artwork here. And I'm also going to now fill this in with the pattern of my choice. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that particular skin tone. And then we're going to go to our transparency palette. Now this is a pretty involved technique, as you can see here. So let me go get my transparency palette. All right. And I'll tear that off. Let me go ahead and close this. Now you see that we have this pattern here. We need to create a mask that sits in this area. So what I'm going to do is go to this little pop-up menu and choose Make Opacity Mask. Now you'll notice that that pattern disappeared. And now we have these two icons here. The one on the left is where our rectangle and that fill color lives. And in this one, we have a mask that sits on top, so that's why we can't see it. This black area is masking everything here. And we're going to paste the shape of this character in this mask, which will cut through here and show us this pattern. Hence the opacity mask. All right, so what we're going to do is click on this square, then go to Edit and choose Paste in Front. As I said, we have the lizard showing here now, and his shape and his fill are covering and punching through this black area to reveal what's under here. And now we have a combination. As you can see, we can still see this gradient inside of this pattern. To make this effect more pronounced, we can click right here where it says Invert Mask. And I'll go ahead and deselect it. Now, as I said before, that's very difficult to do without this effect. I'll go ahead and turn that back off, and we can also turn off the clip so we can see what's happening here. You can see that we have our lizard shape, and we have our skin shape. And when it clips, we have a nice cutout. It's a great technique. Now what I suggest is that you write these steps down because it can be confusing. But the general rule of thumb is this. You create an object, all right, and you give it a color of your choice. Then you copy that object. So let's say you drew this yourself. So you would go ahead and fill it in with this gradient and copy it. Then create your other shape filled with the other pattern that you want to add to the shape. Then open up the transparency panel, and with that shape that you just finished drawing selected, go to this pop-up and choose to make an opacity mask. then click on this black cube, and then go to Edit and Paste in front, and then you'll have a perfectly aligned character with the new fill in conjunction with your other one. It's a really cool effect. Now we can also use the opacity slider here to blend these more clearly. So I can go all the way to 0% and we're left with our original. So now we see this fill completely, and we can blend it to our heart's content to have a little bit of both, or overpower it with the other one while still showing the fills combined. So give it a try. Once again, it's not a very easy effect to achieve, and it's really hard to actually remember it. And that's one of the things that I think that writing the steps down, if you're going to do this often, is very handy, because this is one of those techniques that, let's say 2 months from now, you want to try to do it on your own, you'll typically forget, which, trust me, I always do it. So I hope you enjoyed that.